basis points for their money in a savings account, and this man's getting people a 42% return, and we know what that means in terms of multiplying over time. He's being rewarded for adding massive value. We may not like that value, you may not like what he's doing, but it's adding value. And I think we all have to say, what is my niche that I will love, that I'm competent in, and there's a market for, and then how do I just constantly and never-endingly improve so that I have that cutting edge of being able to give more.
Easy.
Not easy, worth it,
Yes.
worth it. Because the alternative is settle for a world where you're constantly dropping behind because everything's moving forward and technology's making it happen faster than ever before. And so you will know in Silicon Valley, they used to do annual reviews, now they're doing quarterly reviews. Some people are doing monthly reviews. They're doing one like this, and if somebody's not adding value, they're gone. The world is more competitive than any time in history. So you can say, I don't like it, but the best study of life is how it is. And it feels incredible to constantly grow. If you ask me, what does it take to be fulfilled? Grow or die. You know, if you're not growing in a relationship, the relationship's getting hurt. If you're not growing in terms of your energy, you're getting weaker. If you're not growing in your skill sets, you're gonna fall behind. And if you grow, you have something to give. And I really believe, corny as it sounds, the secret to living is giving is a phrase I wrote in my book when I was 18, when I was really frustrated with my life, feeling that nothing's going in the right direction. I realized I was so focused on what I was doing and what I wasn't getting. I wasn't focused enough on what I was giving. And I think when we give is when we feel most alive. And don't get me wrong, we all can receive and deserve to receive, and I've certainly received. But there's nothing like knowing what you've done makes a difference. And I think that motivates people more than money ever will. Some people money more, but not the majority. The ability to create, to add value, to have autonomy, those are pieces the human spirit grows from. And companies like LinkedIn, and I'm not just blowing smoke your way, because Reid Hoffman's a friend of mine, as you well know. You guys create a culture like that, and it's one of the reasons you've exploded the way you have and expanded what you're doing.
If you've been listening so far and know that you're ready for a change in your career or business, Unleash the Power Within can help you achieve it. Unleash the Power Within is Tony's signature event that has helped people just like you go from where they are to where they want to be. And we have a special offer for podcast listeners. Go to tonyrobbins.com/unleashed and use the promo code UPWPOD, UPWPOD, to get $100 off your UPW ticket. That's tonyrobbins.com/unleashed. Welcome back to the Tony Robbins Podcast, where we're exploring the future of work. You're about to hear from Alicia Abate, an entrepreneur and an expert on the topic. Alicia has spent much of her career in global recruiting, interviewing and placing executive-level talent for companies like Anheuser-Busch InBev, Dow Jones, and the Wall Street Journal. But through the thousands of interviews she conducted all over the world, she was exhausted and discouraged by meeting people who were interesting, smart, creative, but they didn't have any passion or excitement for the work they were doing. It's a problem that many people can relate to. She also started to see these macro trends in the market that made her ask the question, how will people empower themselves in the face of technological disruption? So she set out to answer those questions. She researched the technologies that are creating the most impact and met with people who are masters at managing change and have successfully worked through it. And over the past several years, she's been putting her methodologies into practice, providing companies, governments, educational institutions, and individuals with the business models and tools they need to solve challenges brought on by the future of work. Here's Alicia as she shares a 3-part framework that you can use to build a fulfilling career in the face of disruption.
When we think about how to create a career that's going to allow us to thrive in the face of all of this disruption, technological disruption being the focus of that, the first and most important thing to understand is that gone are the days of the ladder career. And what do I mean by the ladder career? It's one job, one track. Several years ago, it was literally climbing the corporate ladder, but basically a singular focus in terms of your growth. Even if you switched jobs from company to company, we generally stayed within the same functional area. But as we begin to look at all of this disruption and how to future-proof ourselves, we move over into a model that I call the mosaic model, which is rooted in the things that we value the most, the kind of contribution that we want to create in the world, and the kind of impacts we want to use our lives to create, and piecing those things together in various activities to build what would traditionally be a career in that space. Now that we know that the model has shifted from a ladder career into a mosaic career, how do we actually go about creating it? What are some of the mindset shifts and action shifts that can help us move ourselves there? That three-part framework is mindset, education, and collaboration. And the first component of mindset is this distinction between thinking about your career as a sniper versus thinking about your career as a scientist. Most of us are taught that we need to find one career, one passion, one right job, one right company. And if we don't, then we failed or we're doomed to mediocrity or something even worse. Because the market's shifting so much, moving away from this need to have the one right answer, shifting into a space of being absolutely curious, that of a scientist. As a scientist, let's imagine that we're all going to the South Pole and we're doing some research together. Once we're down there, we're well equipped, somebody's funding our research, we've got all the equipment we need, lots of smart scientists with us, and we may even have some hypotheses about what happens when we get there. But once we're there, we're simply collecting data. There's no right or wrong, there's only information. And so rather than thinking, if I don't get this right the first time, all is doomed, we can ask ourselves, what can I learn from this space and what can I transform it into? The second piece of the mindset component is shifting our thinking about our career in terms of an or way of thinking versus an and way of thinking. And what do we mean by that? In the past, we used to do one job or the other. We were in one functional area or the other. And this mosaic career model includes a whole lot of and. One of my former clients is this amazing woman who has an immigrant story, came to the United States, learned English, got herself through college, got a job that she thought was going to be fantastic and ended up being a soul-sucking desk job. And she had a dream for most of her career, most of her life, to become a chef, to create impact in her community and help bring healthier food habits. So she decides to leave her soul-sucking desk job. She gets herself into the Natural Gourmet Institute and graduates with honors. Working with some of the best natural food chefs in the world. And today, rather than having one specific career, she's a chef, she's working on cookbooks, she's teaching classes, she does private events. So she's created this mosaic around herself that allows her to exercise her talent through various different windows and various different points of focus. As we look at this framework of mindset, education, and collaboration, education is the second component. And how this relates to our mosaic career is that we're shifting away from a job market or a job environment where we're looking at the skills that we have versus the values that we have. We're moving away from the need to follow solely on the path of the things that we're able to do and shifting into a place of what can I utilize the things that I know how to do to create in the world? What kind of impact can I create?